Shalom. Welcome, everybody. Ariel Tzadok here from the KosherTorah School, found online at www.KosherTorah.com. Bringing to you today's Sefer Yetzirah class, today's daily class. This is lesson 14 in our series, dedicated, of course, to the safety, the health, the well-being of everybody around the world today, facing the trials and tribulations that we are in this time of curious events. Let's leave it at that. Well, we are now going to begin the fourth Mishna of the first chapter of the Sefer Yetzirah. And again, it opens up with those curious words, Eser Sephirot Belima, the 10 Sephirot, which are Beli Ma, translate without and, infinite. Again, what we understand about Sephirot is the nature that they are the underlying energetic influence of our reality, as everything in our human experience we will perceive in this movement of energy. Like it says in the Tanakh, the Bible, there is a time and a purpose for all things under heaven. There's a time for good, a time for bad, a time for happy, peace, a time for war. You go look at Ecclesiastes, I think it's chapter 3, you'll see all of that. Well, why is it like that? Why did God, if we, create it like this? We have so much mythology and fantasy, what we think about what God is, what spirituality is all about, because our books say this. Well, I agree, the books say what they say. But who do you think you are, or I am for that matter, to think that we could just read a book and automatically we understand exactly what it meant? Oh, really? You know what it's like to be a, Star Wars universe, right? Long, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Well, let me remind you about our literature. And let me expand beyond that to all the other literatures of the world. How many of you have ever read the Tao Te Ching, the Patanjali Sutras, or any of the world's literature? Even if you're going to read the Quran, or for that matter, the Christian Bible. These documents, these books, were written a long, long, long time ago in places far, far, far away. And granted, we can open up any book today and think that we understand it based upon our present insights. And granted, we can interpret and reinterpret anything in light of any circumstances in any context. If I were 1,000 years from now to take the USS Enterprise and go live on Vulcan or some other, crazy science fiction, fantasy, whatever, and take the Torah, the Christian Bible, the Quran, the Patanjali Sutras, everything that you could possibly think of, and read them in the context of living out there somewhere, we will reinterpret them in that light as well. But the difference between people who just read a book and interpret it in their own personal context and a scholar is that a scholar tries to go back to the original teachings. So, in our context, when we look at the Bible and we read the words of Torah, we try to understand not just how the famous commentators Rashi or others will interpret the text. Yeah, that's one level of understanding. But what was the text originally, historically, trying to say? What was the original meanings? If you cannot fathom that, then everything you have is a veil. In the words of Chaim Vital's Kabbalah, we call that a klipa, a husk, or a shell. So essentially, all of our understandings of religion, sorry guys, even our own Judaism, today, for the most part, is what we call klipa. That's right, guys. Oh, I know you might not like me saying that, but you go into the Keter and Da'at, He's going to tell you this. It is taught that we as a race, as a world, ascend to messianic consciousness and have that generation of Mashiach, the inner Torah is going to be revealed. The original Torah, which Moshe brought down from Mount Sinai before, the sin of the golden calf kind of stuff, and, the second commandment's not being the same as the first. What is the inner secrets of the Torah? What is it really all about? Whether it's Rabbi Moshe de Leon or others who put together the teachings of the Zohar teaches, right, in the name of Shimon Bar Yochai, pseudepigraphal, but nevertheless valid, that for those who look at the Torah today and all they see is the surface level, they know and understand nothing. A big understanding with regards to Torah today is recognizing we have a two-tier way of looking at things. We have the Pshat, which is the standard normal traditions of our Orthodox practices, and that is obviously vital, because what else defines Torah Judaism other than halacha, gemara, mitzvot, etc.? That's the body, that's the form of the letters. But inside there is something else, a moving, a vibrant spirit, something which is alive and guiding and flowing things. And that is the Sephirot of the letters, or the soul of the Torah, as it is said in the Zohar. Now, this is vital for us to understand, not just for understanding Kabbalah and our Sefer Yetzirah, but vital, especially, for example, within our Jewish context. If you today want to live a Torah-observant Jewish life, which is what Orthodox Jews do. Now, obviously, it's not everybody, but it is Orthodox Jewish. Well, how do you do it? What do you do? There is so much misinformation, fake news on the internet today, which tells people, oh, if you want to be Jewish, do this, do that. You don't have to do this. You don't have to do that. No. You gotta put that all aside and get to the real source of things. And the real source of things is the form, using our Sefer Yetzirah language, the form of the letters. But you also have to know that Sefirotic intent within. That Sefirotic intent within is what gives the letters their shape and form. So you have to know the body of the Torah and the soul of the Torah. So all this fake news and all these guys out on the internet today saying you could do this and go to the sources. Look and see. And it's a long process. It's not easy. It's like learning our Sefer Yetzirah. So now, in Mishnah 4, we have a very, it's almost like a strange teaching, but something that's reinforcing this lesson to us. The text states like this. Eser Sephirot Belima are 10 Sephirot. Eser v'lo Teisha. Eser v'lo Chadesar. They're 10, not 9. 10, not 11. Why do we even need to say that? And then it introduces to us something here, which I expand upon in great detail in the meditative side of this class, which I don't teach in this course, but I've taught in my other Sefer Yetzirah courses. And those of you who want to learn the meditative techniques of the Sefer Yetzirah, I have my 40-hour class, long expanded, very, very much involved with exercises, worksheets, and the like. For those of you who are interested in the Sefer Yetzirah meditative, prophetic meditative course, email me at ariel.tzadok@gmail.com. I'll be more than happy to send you the information, pricing, and the rest. Hevin b'Hokhma, the Hokhma and Binah. Be wise, understand with wisdom, and be wise with understanding. For those of you who know your Sephirot, it's saying have understanding or Binah in wisdom and have wisdom in understanding. Hokhma, have Binah in Hokhma and have Hokhma and Binah. This is the secret of what we call Sechel Tenudah, oscillating consciousness, going back and forth. Again, meditative technique, not for right now, but he continues, the Mishna says, Bahon Behem, all right? Check them out, all right? test them. Hakor behem, investigate deeply. Again, two processes of mind, where in which you have rational intellectual understanding and experiential intuitive understanding. Vital. Establish a thing upon its proper place. V'hoshev yotzer al michono, and restore the formator, creator, but not really, to its place. What on earth is it saying here? These 10 Sephirot, they're 10, not 9, not 11. And it requires of us a profound merging of consciousness, which again is symbolized by the words understanding and wisdom. And then we're taught to test and to investigate. And only by doing that will we realign the levels called Beri'ah and the later level called Yetzirah. Rabbi Chaim explains like this, and he introduces to us the concept that he already discussed, but we're going to elaborate on in this and a couple more lessons, called Da'at. Da'at is knowledge. Knowledge is very, very important. For those of you who know Kabbalah, in between Hokhma and Binah, just below, there is something called a semi-sephirah called Da'at. Now, Da'at is not a sephirah, because if you count the Sephirot, you have 10. If you put in the Da'at, you'd have 11. And didn't we just learn there are 10, not 11? Well, what then would we do? We said that I'm just going to jump ahead and get into it. The Da'at is in a unique relationship with Keter. Okay? The Keter is a questionable part of the Sephirot. All right? You know what? I'm going to paraphrase Rabbi Chaim because I think it's just going to be a lot easier than just to read the text. Okay? Understand like this. The 10 Sephirot, top is Keter. What is Keter? The Keter, again, translates as crown. It's on top of the head, symbolically speaking. All the Sephirot, remember, symbolic of energies within. Okay, what that is the source, the kernel, the seed. In Zohar speak, it's called the Ra'awa Ila'ah, which means the inner or higher will. So consider that the essence. It's the inner I. But the inner I is never enough. Because what am I? Well, I am. That's a revelation of the I. That's Hokhma. Hokhma is that intuitive insight that comes to you and says, it's a revelation, a reflection of the inner essence. But what does it all mean? That requires Binah, and that's intellect, analysis. So the ultimate I, which is the Keter, has to transcend itself and go into a process of self-awareness, where in which there has to be a revelation of it, and then a comprehension of the revelation. Doesn't that make sense? It's normal. But this is the process of the universe, not just us. What is therefore the byproduct, the result of the revelation of the inner I, the inner essence, as it is revealed through intuition and grasped in intellect? You are therefore receiving an awareness within, an understanding, a knowledge, a wisdom, which becomes encapsulated as the source. And that is called Da'at, knowledge. It is an inner awareness. It is the revelation of the inner truth. This is why, for example, in the Bible, you will always refer to the act of sexual intimacy between man and woman as knowledge. And Adam knew his wife Eve. It's that inner intense awareness. Now we all have Da'at. And Da'at can be, or should be, an actual expression of our inner Keter. Keter itself, very controversial. When you study Kabbalistic literature scholarly, right, like Rabbi Moshe Cordovero's Pardes Ramonim, you'll find that throughout the centuries, Kabbalists who did investigate this stuff psychically, who tried to analyze this stuff intellectually, achieved a connection with the Keter, which was so high, so sublime, they couldn't grasp it. Let me put it to you in words that Rabbi Moshe Cordovero did. He said, Keter is like I. We already said that. Hokhma is I am, the revelation of the I. The comprehension of that would be Binah, which is I am what I am. Oh, the name that was revealed at Mount Sinai, the burning bush, to Moses. And then Yud Ke Vav Ke, from Da'at down to Sephirot. That's pretty much the pattern of these things. So, when you look at the Sephirot, and you embrace the Keter beyond, it is so high and sublime that the question is it really part of the materialization of that which is below? Or is the Keter actually a part of that which is ungraspable above? And the answer was that Keter is almost like this, that little point of the hourglass that merges the above and the below. So Keter, the I, is where we connect to the divine, the higher and greater world, etc. As such, the question is, well, if it's part of that higher world, is it really part of the materialization in the lower? So is Keter actually a Sephirah or not? Do we have 10 or do we have 9? Our Mishna comes and says there's always 10, not 9. Well, if I don't include the Keter, well, what do I have in its place? Da'at. So you have the higher revelation, which the 10 Sephirot then will include the Keter, and the lower revelation, in which you have the Da'at. 10, not 9, but 10, not 11. Here's the difference. Symbolically speaking, when we gaze above, all right, we gaze and see the Sephirotic pattern with the Keter because we're looking up to receive. But when we seek to take this energy and put it down into our world to project out, then we're no longer looking towards or receiving from the Keter because the Keter needs to materialize and becomes Da'at. So many a time, when you see the Sephirot described, you will find them referred to as Keter Hokhma Binah or as Hokhma Binah Da'at. So for example, in the Lubavitch teachings, right, the Torah, the Hasidut of Lubavitch, they refer to themselves as Chabad Hasidim. Why? Because they believe that they are dealing with the materialization or expression of knowledge in accordance to their opinion. Remember, Lubavitch has their own unique, separate, different way of understanding Hasidism and Kabbalah, which is completely unique to themselves. They're a completely separate branch of knowledge and understanding in Judaism, and many people embrace them, God bless, but very, very different from others. But this is the group that brought the term Chabad into the public awareness, when the Sephirot are usually Ka-Chab, Keter Hokhma Binah. So this is the difference of gazing up or the difference of bringing down. This is that Sechel Tenudah that I was referring to you about, where it says, be understanding with wisdom and be wise with understanding. You see, it's a process of mind, in which you begin with the analysis, and then that brings you into deeper levels of experience. But the experience then needs to be, if you will, digested or cognized, and that brings you back into analysis. And analysis brings you deeper and deeper into greater experience. And then the experience again needs to be understood, and it brings you back to analysis. So you're going from analysis to experience, from experience to analysis. You're going back and forth, from Binah to Hokhma, from Hokhma to Binah, back and forth like a pendulum. This is called Sechel Tenudah. It's a very deep meditative technique Teach it again in the other Sefer Yetzirah course for those of you who are interested. And the purpose of all of this is to establish balance and harmony in the realm of mind, and balance and harmony in the realm of heart, which of course then materializes in balance and harmony in the physical world. That is what this Mishnah is to teach us. God be willing, we'll pick up on this in our next class, okay? But ground this concept into your mind and try to experience it in your daily lives, and you'll learn and see, dot, and know for yourselves. Okay, talk to you next time. Ariel Bar Tzadok, KosherTorah.com. See you all soon.